Hi there, great to see you, and I do hope that you are well. I'm Jenny Kirk, welcoming you up here to Weir Yard, and today I've got a Can We Fix It video for you. This is the Class 08 shunter that you might remember that I picked up at the Great Electric Train Show at a price that, quite frankly, couldn't be ignored off the footplate models stand. I think it was either £30 or £35, around that kind of ballpark, and it just shows that there's still some great bargains to be had. Now, it was missing a few detail pieces, also the screw that held the body on, but the box and the fundamental locomotive itself was actually in great condition, and at that sort of price really just can't ignore it. And also the fact that I knew that the Bachmann spares department is very, very good at carrying stocks of pretty much all the parts that you'd ever need to put a locomotive back on the tracks. And so in this case, I just couldn't ignore that price. I picked it up. I did, I think, show you it in the Gets Pickups video, and it's been sat on my shelf for quite some time. Now, I did put all the parts I thought I needed on order with the spares department, and they're really actually quite inexpensive. I paid £11 for a mishmash of detailing parts and that screw to keep the body on. And I thought, well, when I do get round to trying to fix it, I'll also do a DCC fit as well. And I tend to now, as a rule, also squeeze in a stay alive to these models because it really does improve the performance. But today, it's time to see, can we fix this one? It's a Gronk in need, and a Gronk in need needs to be fixed indeed, and that is precisely what I'm going to be trying to do. I'm going to fix all those detail parts, show you that with the Bachmann spares department it really is super easy to do, and then I'm going to do a hardwired DCC fit with stay alive, and we're going to get this Gronk back on the track. So come with me and let's see, can we fix it? As we go through this video, as always, it really does help out the channel if you like, share and subscribe, and well, come with me for this journey, and maybe there's a few hints and tips that you'll pick up along the way on how to get yourself a bargain and get it running again. So come with me and let's see how well I did. Today's video comes in association with Train-O-Matic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. We're proud to be sponsored by The Model Centre, your ultimate destination for great models and the home of model customization for enthusiasts around the world. Starting your first layout? Perhaps you're perfecting a lifelong build with passion. You'll find everything you need in one shop, from brand new locomotives and rolling stock at market-leading prices to an amazing selection of pre-owned model listings, uploaded live every day on the website at 5 p.m. Seeking more realism? TMC's talented workshop team offers professional weathering and realistic detailing. Explore top brands, expert advice, and a community that shares your love of the hobby, in-store or online at themodelcentre.com. I think it's probably no secret by now that I really do love Bachmann 08s. In fact, I like Hornby ones as well. And this was, I think this is catalogue number 32-100, if memory serves me correct. It was from the initial release of the Bachmann 08 shunter, probably about 25 years ago, but it does still hold its own. And this is always a good top tip for you at shows. If I press the 9-volt battery up to it, you can see it actually does run perfectly well. Now, this battery's lost a little bit of power over the years. It's not doing the full 9 volts, but I'm quite happy. Fundamentally, this locomotive does still work pretty well. Now, I'm just going to pull the body off. And inside, because it's the first release, these weren't DCC ready back then, but they are ridiculously easy to DCC fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repair the things that are broken on it, and then I'm going to do a DCC fit. Now, I do have in stock And I don't want any criticism for this, just quite simply I happen to have in stock this 8-pin decoder from AE Models, and I've got one of their larger AE model stay alives, and these just plug in, so it does make the job a lot easier. So that's why I'm using those, but you can use other brands of decoders if you wish. So we've already ascertained that it works, and I think I only paid about, I'm going to say £30 or £35 for it. It really was a great deal, despite the damage. And Bachmann Spares department, a big shout out to them. They really have come through with spare parts. These are all still readily available. Just bought them via a model shop. They ordered them for me, and I think it's about £11 worth of spare parts in there. All the steps, the cab handrails, although for reasons they seem to have, I must be a mistake I made when ordering. There's only one set of cab handrails, which is a bit annoying, but I can make the other set out of brass wire. So it's not the end of the world. I only ordered them because they were there on the list, and I thought it might make my life a little bit easier. These are all sealed in the bags. Going to use my sprue cutters to get on in. And first up, the cab steps are just a push fit. Don't even need glue. They just go straight on in there. And I have used 3D printed aftermarket ones before, just because I was buying a lot of other parts from the supplier. They had them, and well, that is a bit bent. I think it's got squashed over the time it's been at Bachmann Spares. It's no big deal. There we go. That's gone on in, and I don't actually need both of these. They are handed, but it does still have on the other side. Let's just try that there. Yeah, these are handed, but have they sent me? No, they haven't sent me two the same. So yes, I do have the proper pair. Should just be a push fit again, just like those other steps. And there's a good amount of friction going on, so they're in. There is still, bizarrely enough, this is clung on and stayed with the model. They do tend to get just a little bit bent. Let's just see, can we make that go back to where it should be? Might use a little bit of glue. I do also have, I think, from memory, I've either ordered the wrong ones, no big deal, just put a little bit of paint on them. It's either me, or it may be that the only ones they actually had were the white ones. So I'm just looking in there. I think somebody has actually tried to glue the original in, and I'm going to use liquid poly. You can use other glues. Be careful if you use super glue, because a previous one has been glued in and then broken off. What I'm actually finding is that there's no hole to put it in, so I'm just going to snip off the actual little bit that goes in. Let me just, whilst we're at it, put a little bit of glue in there as well. And let's see if we can just carefully place this in. So I've got that in, and all of the ladders are in place. Now, looking to the body, I'm going to put both of these on one side. I will go over them with a little bit of white paint afterwards. But again, these should just drop in. When I've ordered what I thought was 2 lots, I've actually just ordered 2. So easy mistake to make. And you can see they just go straight in. I'm going to put the slightest little dab of poly cement. And I'm going to make the other side just out of a bit of brass wire, which I'll bend. I've done loads that way. First of all, I'm going to make sure that we get the first bend in nice and tight, and that should just slot into the existing holes, so that is perfect going in. Measuring down to where the other hole is, And what I actually want to do is give myself enough to bend that over. So I'm going to cut the wire there. Fairly soft steel wire this. You can use brass wire. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clamp that in there and get a second pair of pliers and just start to fold over the end. Let's just double check on this. Second one in to brace, and let's start that bend. And that should give us our new handrail, and that can then be painted with white paint. So I'm just going to, where's my little tack hammer? Just very, very carefully. And there we have it. And that will deal with the cosmetic side of things. Now, for the actual screw that holds the body on, we just need to ease that out. And there's a hole down there, which that screw will go in. And let's just test fit everything. That handrail's come out. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in just to sort it out, but on the face of it, it does look like, there we go. Get my screwdriver, don't over torque it, and then that should just clunk click every trip. There is a little clip in there. I will sort that in a moment. I've got some matte white. This is old Formula Humbrol, aka the good stuff, and I'm just going to very carefully just run a little bit of white paint on there. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see better close up. You don't need to paint the right round them, seriously. All you do is risk getting white paint on the body of your model. So let's just very quickly just paint in. Oh yeah, you'll stick to the paintbrush, but you're not sticking to the model. So okay, the paint will probably do a lot of the heavy lifting on there. And make sure the lid's on. And there we go. That cosmetically for £11, and yeah, I'd have probably spent another couple of quid if I had got enough of the handrails. They're really easy to make. I'm now happy. Cosmetically, this model is sorted. We've already verified that it works just fine. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double-O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
So I'm going to carefully put the body out of the way, let that paint dry. And we're going to get on with a DCC hard wire. So the first thing I do is get rid of this circuit board, because actually what I need is the space that the circuit board sits in. And just because I happen to have it to hand, I normally carry stocks of DCC decoders. And I want this to have a stay alive. It dramatically improves the running of these locomotives. So let's bring in the solder as well. I need to get myself some more of this S179 stuff. Also got some of the Captain tape. I'm getting low on that as well. I'm getting low on everything.
We're a bit short on a few supplies.
Like what?
Cow's milk.
And the first thing I want to do is actually just unsolder these wires that go to the pickups. Use my gnarly old tweezers. I don't know where the good ones have gone. There we go. Come here, you. It's actually very difficult to grasp with these. That's part of that issue. And let's just, again, there's no point in cutting and trying to join these wires, really. Why would you, when you can solder directly to those motor pickups? And then I'm actually going to, for reasons, there's a plug for the pickups. I'm just going to unplug that. There's no sense in keeping that. I'm just going to throw it away. And then what I want to do is cut off the plug. Get rid of that. This one's been all tied up in a knot. I think that's how it's come from the factory. In fact, I'm certain that's how it's come from the factory. So just going to untie that. And what I want to do now is just prepare them for joining. These are the ones that come from the pickups. What I actually want to do is start work on just sorting out the wiring harness. I don't need the 8-pin plug. I don't actually need a lot of the wires. Now the mantra is red and black go to the track and orange and grey power the way. That's how I remember. So I'm going to need orange, I'm going to need red, and I'm going to give myself plenty on each of the ones I need. It just helps. And then I need black and I need grey. Okay. Everything else I can actually just chop off short because none of these are needed. I'm not adding lights to this model. Space is an issue. And just very, very quickly, going to prep the ends for soldering. Let's get the flux out. This really does make the huge difference. Got an old paintbrush. What I want to do is I'm going to be soldering there, and in this first pass I need to, oh look at that, it's just come straight. I'll fix that at the end. I think I've been too eager to get that step fixed in, so I'll fix that afterwards rather than risk continually knocking it off. Orange and grey we can just solder straight on. There's grey and there's orange. We can, in I think it's CV29, change the direction that the locomotive tries to go in, should that be required, on DCC. So I'm not too bothered about which way round I get these. Let's tin that wire and tin that wire. The reason I didn't particularly tin the other ones is because there's actually quite a big blob of solder that was in place already. Get some heat shrink, cut that in half, and always remember to put this on first. So feed that down and feed that down there. So black to black seems fairly sensible. I'm going to just try and join these together. Just hold it steady for a second or two, check the join, and then I'm going to just bring up the heat shrink and heat shrink over that just to protect from any kind of short circuit. I'm just using the heat from the soldering iron. It never seems to melt onto the soldering iron, so you don't really have to worry about that. Now I'm going to do the same here now for these two. Let's get a little bit more solder. That is not the neatest, it must be said. I'm just going to trim off these little nodules, and then I'm going to put the heat shrink over the top again. So there we go, got the wires wired up, and I can just plug this in, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to test it on my DCC test track before I go any further, just to make sure that all is well. So what I'm going to do now is verified everything works, which it does, and I'm just going to make a little bit more space at this end, and this, believe me, you don't want this firing off into the unknown. So I'm just going to use my clippers and take off where the screws for the circuit board would have attached. This just gives a little bit of extra room for the decoder to sit in place. In terms of the stay alive, which I do want to fit, well, it's down to getting that into the cab. Now this can be just a little bit trickier on the Bachmann model, so what I need to do is just get this metal weight out. You can't really see what's going on in the cab, so I'm going to use a drill and a big drill bit. I'm going to drill in from inside carefully so I don't come out the other side of the thing. So I'm going to just open this up such that I can slide this in. Actually, I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking it may be better to take the cab itself off and feed the wire through from the other side. So ignore, and when I say ignore, this is a hint for Zoe to not put in the video, ignore my previous suggestion.
No.
There's sometimes a little bit of glue down in here, so just see if we can break that free. And then getting a cab off a first generation Bachmann 08 needs a little bit of brute force. And on this side, let's just go down and in again, in again. And if you need to repair windows, this is the way to do it. So I've got that off, and I'm going to get my drill. So there we go. And that's probably why it's best to take the cab off first, because I didn't really want that drill bit slamming into the cab. So then we can just feed the wire down and through. And I'm actually going to just, to be honest, I think that's going to be fine like that. I can get the cab back on. You put a screw in as well if you really want at this stage, but believe me, you can't really see a huge amount through the windows. There's no cab light, so I personally don't worry too much. Oh, I've managed to dislodge one of these. So there we go. So that's in, wires through, very, very carefully. Move that down. Just try not to crush the wires overly. There is, or should be, just enough give to give you space for those wires. So that's the stay alive in place, and I'm going to put that again back to one side, and I want to fix this in place. I'm going to use some Captain tape and start just carefully stick that along the side. Right, and just going to carefully move some of this wiring and another little piece of Captain tape just to hold that where I want it. Desperately not wanting to hold. There we go. And then we can very carefully work out which way round that needs to go. Carefully plug that in. Another piece of Captain tape. I want to make sure that none of this can get jammed. There's also a few little places like the worm gear and the flywheel I don't want wires to get wrapped up in. So I'm going to put you up here on top. And again, that piece of Captain tape really doesn't want to stick to the chassis block, does it? Right, it may feel a little bit tight just getting this all into position. So we've got, again, things that just don't want to stay attached. Let's get the hook in at the front and the hook in at the back. Now I tend to apply quite a little bit of force here at this point. And where did my screw go? The body screw, which I paid a whole £1 for. Oh, it's still in there. So there we go. Squeeze tight. Don't let the screw thread do all the work to wind the body down, because you may break the plastic or strip the thread. And then only when it's screwed in do we actually, there we go, actually let off some of that extra pressure, and then we can get the coupling back in. And then I've got to fix, for reasons, all of these seem to have fallen off. And there we have it. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Really easy to do. A very cheap 08 shunter, purchased with box for, I think it was about 30 or 35 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. Another 11 pounds worth of spares from Bachmann, and look at that, we're back to pristine condition, so we can take it to the layout and get her running. So there you have it. It was actually perfectly possible to fix up this bargain Class 08 shunter, and with just £11 worth of spares from the Bachmann spares department. And we do have a link down below in the description box for you to find that. It's just on the Bachmann website, really super easy to find. And it was probably my mistake that I misread some of the listings, or I could have actually, for I think it was probably about £2, I could have got another set of the cab handrails, which would have made things a little bit easier, but I do know how to make them from brass, so I made the other side really quite well. And I've a suspicion that the handrails for the front steps, I either bought the wrong colour or the colour I needed wasn't in stock. Either way, it's really easy. You just paint them if you need to, just as I did. And we got that 08 shunter back on track, and as you saw in the B-roll footage of it running around, it actually does run really well. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Has this inspired you maybe to take on a rebuild repair challenge? Let me know. And it's always great to know about a model that gets a new lease of life. Please like, share and subscribe as well. It really does help out the algorithm. And until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Train-O-Matic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double-O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest logo.
We're proud to be sponsored by The Model Centre, your ultimate destination for great models and the home of model customization for enthusiasts around the world. Starting your first layout? Perhaps you're perfecting a lifelong build with passion. You'll find everything you need in one shop, from brand new locomotives and rolling stock at market-leading prices to an amazing selection of pre-owned model listings, uploaded live every day on the website at 5 p.m. Seeking more realism? TMC's talented workshop team offers professional weathering and realistic detailing. Explore top brands, expert advice, and a community that shares your love of the hobby, in-store or online at themodelcentre.com. I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.